Hello everyone and welcome to the Kukli Bushcraft channel. Okay, so nice cheap knife. So this is the Schrade Old Timer Trail Boss 8CR 13 MOV steel. So it's a budget steel, not the best edge retention, sharpens up nicely though. So yeah, you do get what you pay for. We've got a plastic sheath. Kind of looks a bit like Kydex, but it's, yeah, up close it looks quite a bit cheaper. We've got a Mora style belt clip on the back, and it does serve its purpose perfectly well, to be honest, so you can't really fault the sheath. So this, looking at it, is intended to be a hunting knife. Uni, don't shake the camera. This is intended to be a hunting knife, looking at the design of it, and I thought, well, I bought it thinking of a knife to take fishing, and also I could make a quick fire with it to process the fish. And I've had it in work for a week or so to test it out, so I've been cutting rope, cutting cordage, woodworking, all of those kind of tasks, and it seems to be doing okay. So when it comes to ergonomics, the handle material is really quite grippy and nice, but the shape of it is not really comfortable in all grips. What I find myself doing a lot is hammer gripping like this and choking up, getting nice and close to the blade, and this kind of just gets in the way. Wait, excuse me. So it's not bad. We've got a bit of jimping on the top of the handle there, so it does depend on what grip you choose to use. Okay, so here we've got a piece of wood which is, to be honest, a bit more substantial than I'd normally want to be batoning with a knife like this. So I only normally baton quite thin sticks unless I've got something considerably more substantial than this. And what I'd worry about with this knife is the tip. So we've got a good solid piece of birch here. So being a hollow grind with a swedge, we've basically got a piercing tip. And with a piercing tip, obviously you're sacrificing a bit of strength. I'm actually hitting quite a thin piece of steel here. So it's full tang, but fine tip, cheap steel, and also a small blade. It's good as if you can have a blade which you can hit on both sides without hitting the handle. But I really don't think that you need to do very much batoning at all in real life. There's normally plenty of thin sticks on the bottom of the trees, particularly in this area. And yeah, we have got a hollow grind, which doesn't help with the batoning because, well, the way it flares out there, yeah, just to get it to pierce enough, it's once it gets past that point, it's fine. But what I find with a hollow grind is I find a hollow grind works really quite nicely for feathers. I usually use a Schrade grind, and what you find with a Schrade grind is that it tends to bite in, whereas a hollow grind will just kind of skim under the surface and take some pretty nice fine feathers. This wood's a little bit wet, so I'm not sure how well that's really illustrating my point. But yeah, for feather sticks, it's really quite nice. But you see how you see how I'm holding the knife. It's not particularly comfortable. But for the time it takes to do a couple of feather sticks, also, it's no big deal. Also, what I find a hollow grind works well for is cross batoning. If you want to make a small notch, it penetrates across the grain quite easily. Okay, so let's see how we do some gardening. Let's see how we do with scraping a ferro rod. So I usually use the striker provided with a ferro rod, but I do think that a sharp spine is useful for things like scraping fat wood. We have got a little bit of a spine there. I can't see the swedge as being particularly sharp. Yeah, but that bit of spine there works fine. Let's see how we do. We've got a bit of witch's beard straight from the tree. There we go. It's got TPE handle scales with a 3.7-inch blade, so that's about 94mm. 9 inches in total, so that's about 230mm. Weighing in at 4.62 ounces, which is about 130 grams. As for a fishing knife, so far it's had one fishing trip. It's processed a couple of fish, and yeah, it did fine. I do think though, for a multi-purpose fishing stroke campcraft knife, I think I prefer the Mora 2000 or the Mora Cansball, and they're actually a similar price range. Much more comfortable in the hand, and you've got flat grind up here, which also gives the same fine feathers and a little bit more piercing ability. Right. The Schrade grind gives a bit more control when as it comes to actual wood carving and working along the grain. And yeah, it's a similar price range. Mora's stainless steel. Yeah, I trust the heat treatment more, and I think it's a better steel. So just my thoughts on the matter, but still this can live in my fishing bag, and quite a handy thing to have. Right, so that's my opinion on the Schrade Trail Boss. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Please give us a thumbs up and drop us a comment, and I'll see you all again soon for another Kukuli Bushcraft video. Bye for now.